Alright guys, today I'm going to be working on a 2019 Toyota Tacoma. It is a push-to-start. We're going to use a TL7 firmware. They want 3 times lock on the factory key fob, so all we need is an ALCA. I'm going to flash it and prep it, and then I'll go over how I do it. Alright, so here I have depinned everything that I don't need, and now I have what I need. So we got ground, power, parking light. The white with black, white with red is to break the auto parking lights. It's basically an internal relay inside the module here. Can high, can low, and then your orange with black is going to go to ground. Pink for ignition and green with red for your SLP output. Alright, so in this truck you basically only need to go 2 places. You need to go up to the steering column where the SLP connection is, and up there we're going to run our ground, the SLP, ignition, and power. And then everything else will be taped up together, and that's going to go to the BCU, or body control unit, or ECU. And there you get your parking lights, your auto light brake, your can high, can low, and that's basically the whole install. It's really easy. It doesn't take too much time. Alright, so there's my prep for the 2019 push-to-start Tacoma. You got everything separated into 2 different spots, and it's all taped up nice and neat. So I'm going to take you to the truck and we'll start putting it in the vehicle. Alright guys, we're back in the truck now, so I'm going to start taking everything apart, and then I'll go over how I mount everything. Alright, we got everything taken apart, so our SLP connection is up here. So we need to take that wire and I'll start zip tying it right there, so we know we have enough length to get there. And then I zip tie the module up here. It's the harness that's coming from the upper dash. And now we have all our wires that go to the ECU, which are right here. There's this particular Tacoma only has 1 plug at the ECU. So we can unplug that, find all our wires, make all of our connections. Can high and can low are going to be right here. It's can low will be the white, can high is going to be black. Next is going to be your parking lights and your auto light connection that you need to break. So parking lights is going to be a green, and the auto lights is going to be this white here that we have to cut. It's also found up here at the where the switch is in the steering column, but since we already had to run here for can high and can low, it's just easier just to do it, catch them right here. So what I do is I cut a section of the wire out, and then I take my pick tool and poke a hole in between all the strands, and then I poke my parking light wire output in the middle of that, smash it, and twist. Now that's called a military splice or poke and wrap. And then you tape it up. And once you do all your connections here, I'll put a little tape around it and then zip tie the whole thing so it doesn't come undone. And the wire that I break, I like to strip enough back so I can fold it in half. And it just gives the butt connector a little bit more to grab a hold of so it doesn't slip off. Now I have all this extra wire over here coming off of the ALCA. So what I'll do is I will fold that over on itself and zip tie it up here to the factory harness so that it's not just loose in the dash. Alright, next and the final thing is all your connections up here at the SLP connector. So I always start with the ground, which is going to be the larger gauge white with black stripe. Same thing, military splice. You can solder if you like, but usually dealerships don't like you to do that, and it's not really necessary as long as you make a good connection. Next is going to be your actual SLP connection, which is this brown or tan wire. It's going to be center pin of this plug down here with a clip side facing up or away from you. Next is going to be your ignition, which is all the way to the left, not the large gauge red wire, but it's the black one right next to it, and that is your ignition sense. So you'll connect your pink wire from the ALCA to this wire. And then your final wire is the 12-ohm constant, which is this larger red wire, all the way to the left, flip side facing away from you. Be careful not to ground this out on anything, because you will blow a fuse. Alright, so there's all your connections. I'll put this factory wire protective grommet thing around it and tape it up. And finally a zip tie around it, just to make sure that nothing comes undone. Alright, so now programming. Program, you need to watch the light on the ALCA. So we'll hit the start button. That's accessory, and that's ignition or run. Lights up solid red, and it starts flashing red, and now it's green, solid green. The green went out. So that tells me that the CAN bus gave the module all the information that it needed to program, so we can turn it back off. And now I need to go shut the hood, or else it won't start. Okay, so now I press lock. It does have a factory alarm in it because the light over there is lit up solid. We need to wait until that starts to flash, and once that's flashing, that means that the factory alarm has armed itself. It usually takes about 30 seconds or so. Okay, it is armed now, so I'm going to step away about 10 feet or so and press lock 3 times. Also, you can't press lock too fast or too slow. You need to press it at about the speed of whenever you count by a second. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. So the vehicle is running, and now as soon as I open up the door, the vehicle should shut off. Alright. So now that we've tested it, I'm going to put everything back together, test it 2 or 3 more times, and it should be good to go. If you guys have any questions or comments on this one, let me know down below, and I can try to help you out. And I'll see you on the next one.